Cicero said, "All things should be laid bare so that the buyer may not be in any way ignorant of anything the seller knows." Once called vigilance committees, Better Business Bureaus have been around since 1912, responding to unscrupulous advertising and business practices. Our goal is to promote honesty, integrity, and ethical business practices in the marketplace. The Better Business Bureau has grown to be a private, non-profit organization supported by nearly 250,000 business members and currently responds to over 14 million calls per year. Your Better Business Bureau is there to assist you. We provide information about a company's performance, especially whether any unanswered or unsettled complaints exist. We provide information about charities or other organizations seeking donations. We monitor selling and advertising and seek corrections and improvements where appropriate. We help resolve buyer-seller complaints against companies, including mediation and arbitration in many instances. And we produce videos, books, and pamphlets on a wide variety of topics so that you can make informed, educated decisions. We're the Better Business Bureau, a private, non-profit, voluntary organization. We offer these programs and services to help you be a more informed, knowledgeable, and satisfied consumer. Gaylord Maxwell is a former college professor. Not only has he owned and operated an RV dealership, he's been an RV travel writer for a major RV publication for over 20 years. An avid RVer for over 3 decades, he's traveled over 500,000 miles in all types of RVs. In this video, he calls upon his many years of experience with all types of RVs under all types of RV uses to assist you in the task of choosing the right RV.
People are always looking for the perfect RV, but I can tell you it hasn't been invented yet. However, I know what it will look like if it ever is invented. The perfect RV will come in 2 different configurations. One is when you're using it, when you're set up at the campground. It will look like this. It will be 40 feet wide, 70 feet long, 3 stories high, with a full basement. But when it's being towed and being stored, it will have a different configuration. At the campground, simply by pushing a button, 6 seconds later, it will be 3 feet wide, 4 feet long, 36 inches high, weigh 450 pounds, and cost $695. It's not likely that that perfect RV will ever be invented, but people will keep looking for it just the same. Every year, 300,000 Americans purchase new RVs, and several times that number buy used units. Many of those folks lack the information that is necessary to make intelligent choices. And the purpose of this Better Business Bureau film is to help you make those wise decisions when you're spending your money. If you buy a new RV, you'll be making one of the largest purchases you ever made in your life. In fact, it may be the biggest. New prices of RVs range from $3,000 to as much as $500,000, and there's every price in between. The average non-RVer doesn't understand RVs as machines. They're complicated. There are many different types, dozens of floor plans, scores of options, and qualities vary enormously. All of those factors confuse shoppers. But the inexperienced buyer can prepare to shop. Then he will be in a better position to make the right choice at the right price. After all, being informed is the best consumer protection against fraud.
This video has 6 main sections. Look and learn before you shop. Checking up on a seller. Types, sizes, and floor plans. Choosing the right RV for you. Engine choice, gas or diesel. Evaluating a used unit. Look and learn before you shop.
Before you spend all that money, you should look and learn before you shop, because you need to know as precisely as possible what you're shopping for and how much you should have to pay for it. The best way to get information is to read the periodicals that are available to RVers. Then there are regional publications that are available at various sections of the country. Those periodicals are available to people who visit RV dealerships or visit campgrounds or visit RV shows. Secondly, you can get a list of publications from the Recreational Vehicle Industry Association. And then you can check out books from your public library. The best way to get information about RVs is at RV shows. At those shows, you can see the various types and floor plans. In fact, at a big show, you can see in one day more RVs than you can see in days or even weeks of traveling around to the various RV dealerships. At the shows, you can discuss the various pros and cons with people, salespeople, and other people who are visiting the show. My best advice before you settle on a particular RV is to do a mock live-in in it. By a mock live-in, I mean you do the things that are normal living factors. You walk into the RV and sit down in your favorite chair. You stop to think about it. What do you do every day after you have had your evening meal? Yes, Dad goes into the living room and sits in his chair, and it will be the most comfortable chair in the living room. What is Dad going to do when he's in his RV after he has had his evening meal? You guessed it. He's going to find his chair. Is it a comfortable chair? Is it a chair that you would be satisfied sitting in for 2 or 3 hours every evening? If it isn't, maybe you'd better think about a different floor plan. And then you should check the kitchen out. And I suggest there that the cook prepare a meal. Get out all of the ingredients that you need to prepare one of your favorite foods. In fact, I suggest make a pie. Find the apples or other fruit that you're going to use in the pie. Get them out of the bin that they will be stored in. Get the pots and pans that you're going to use in mixing it and cooking it. And roll out the pie dough. And if you don't have a place to roll out the pie dough, it will indicate to you that you have a pretty small counter. You can't always get the counter as large as you want. There are other factors that may be more important than making pies. But still, you should know how much room you have in your kitchen. Go to the bedroom. Test the bed. After all, you're going to spend a third of your life in it. Is it comfortable? Is it the way you like a bed to feel? Do you have a good reading light if you read in bed? Check for places to store your clothes. Everybody takes clothes with them. You have to have closet space and drawer space to put those things. Then go into the bathroom and do the things that you do in the bathroom, like starting out in the morning, leaning over the sink. Do you have ample room to bend your head over, or do you bonk your head on a medicine cabinet? Get in the shower. Do the motions that are typical of washing yourself in the shower. Check the bathroom out thoroughly. You're going to spend some time in it every day. And finally, check the storage outside. Is there adequate storage to put all the things that you want to take with you? Believe me, there's a lot of stuff that you put in. Finally, at the RV show, attend any seminars that are offered. It's a good idea to rent an RV if one is available of the type that you want to use. However, usually only camping trailers and motorhomes are available on a rental basis. Units that are towed generally are not. You should get a clear idea of what the costs of RVs and RVing should be. One of the ways to get information about prices is to look carefully in the periodicals for any kinds of prices that are given. For example, every month there will be tests on some kind of new units. All kinds of information will be given, including the manufacturer's suggested retail price. You can check that suggested retail price with the price that is offered by a dealer. Then you can check the blue books. Actually, there are two blue books, one made by Kelly and one by the National Auto Dealers Association. Those books are good for giving ballpark figures. They're available at loan offices, at banks, and at your public library. Dealers have them too. There are costs other than the RV in RVing. You have to buy a license, and you have to pay taxes. Then you have to buy fuel, and unless you have a place at your house, you may have to pay storage fees. And there are always repairs and maintenance fees. And then, of course, as you travel, there will be park and campground fees wherever you go, and the inevitable depreciation on your RV.
Checking up on a seller.
It's easy to check up on a dealer. It's just a matter of a few phone calls. First, call the Better Business Bureau. See if there are any unanswered complaints. Secondly, call the state's Attorney General's office. See if there are any legal troubles. And third, call the Department of Motor Vehicles. See that the dealer's license is current. And when you're at a dealership, note factors which may indicate the quality of the business. Note how well your questions are answered, the attitude of the people who work there, the neatness and cleanliness of the place, and the merchandise. Rely on your gut feeling to tell you whether or not this is a place where you would like to do business. Talk to previous customers when possible. See what kind of experiences they have had with the dealership. Check with them about after-sales service. Did they get taken care of after they had spent their money? You yourself should visit the service area. You don't have to be a mechanic to tell whether or not this is a well-run shop. Does the service area seem to be efficient? If you're buying from a private party, it's another ballgame. It's buyer beware. Few warranties are transferable from the original owner to a second owner. And be sure that you get a brand that is still in business. And if you're buying from a private party, make sure that they have an address. Don't buy from someone who is selling a rig in a parking lot or in a campground.
Types, sizes, and floor plans.
RV buyers must choose from many different types, sizes, and floor plans. There are 5 major types. 4 are non-motorized, travel trailers, fifth wheels, folding trailers, and truck campers, and 1 is motorized, motorhomes. But there are many variations on the major types. Among the non-motorized, the travel trailer is the oldest and probably the most popular. Travel trailers range in size from 13 to 39 feet, and they may weigh up to 10,000 pounds. Prices range from about $10,000 to upwards of $50,000. And the users may be almost any kind. There are young vacationers who take them on vacations and weekends, and there are full-timers who select large ones to live in. Fifth wheels are a variation on the travel trailer. The difference between them and the travel trailer, though, is the way they're towed. The fifth wheel has a hitch that fits in the bed of the pickup truck, whereas the travel trailer is towed by its tongue down low from a hitch. Fifth wheels range in size from 18 to 40 feet and may weigh up to 18,000 pounds. Prices vary from a low of around $15,000 to as much as $80,000. They're very popular with full-timers, especially the large ones. Another type of towable RV is the camping trailer. They're also known as pop-ups or tent trailers or folding trailers. They come in boxes that range from 8 to 10 feet and extend out to 18 to 20 feet. They may weigh as little as 1,000 pounds or as much as 3,000 pounds. And they cost from $3,000 up to $10,000. Camping trailers are very popular with young families. The truck camper is a unique RV in that it is neither towed nor driven. It slides in the bed of a truck. They come in sizes from 7 feet up to 11.5 feet and weights from 1,500 pounds to as much as 3,000 pounds. Prices range from lows of $6,500 to well over $20,000. They're very popular with people who already have a pickup truck. And they're very simple to load or offload with jacks. There are 3 basic types of motorized RVs, conveniently labeled Class A, Class B, and Class C. Class Bs are also called van conversions. Actually, in this little van, all the rooms normally found in a large RV can be found. They range in size from 17 to 21 feet and cost from $35,000 to over $50,000. They're very popular with people who don't want big motorhomes. And they work very well as a second car. Class Cs, or mini motorhomes, are unique in that they're built on a cutaway van chassis. They range in size from 18 to 32 feet and may cost from $30,000 to more than $60,000. They're very popular with younger families, partly because they're easier to drive, but also because they accommodate a lot of people. Kids like to sleep in the overhead bed. The third type of motorhome is the Class A. Class A's are unique in that they are built on truck chassis. They range in size from 22 feet up to as long as 45 feet. And prices range from a low of $35,000 or $40,000 up to well over $500,000. Since they do come in so many sizes and floor plans and prices, Class A's are popular with all ages and all sizes of families. There are a number of specific points you should consider when you're choosing an RV. As far as the type, size, and floor plan, there's one that will be best for you. The basic question you need to ask yourself is, how will you use it? There are many different ways of using an RV. For example, you might be a fisherman. And when you go fishing, you go on the narrowest roads, up the steepest hills, back to the tightest places. In that case, you need something that is small, easy to navigate on those roads, and easy to park. On the other hand, you may be a full-timer, and your RV is going to be your home. You're going to be in it for 365 days a year, which makes a very different use from the person who's using it for the weekend and for a 2-week vacation. Just as our needs differ in RVs, so there are different RVs for us to purchase. One of those RVs is the best one for you. The secret is to find it.
Choosing the right RV for you.
And now let's look at some of the pros and cons in choosing the right RV for you. 2 types, the truck camper and the camping trailer, are so distinctive that there's generally very little conflict in the buyer's mind as to what kind to buy. People who already have a pickup truck and who don't care for a great big rig, like to get into smaller spaces, a truck camper can be just the right thing for you. And for the camping trailer, which is so appropriate for the young family that wants to go camping in the traditional sense. It makes sense to them, and they know what they want, and it fits their pocketbook. Let's look first at some of the advantages of motorhomes. First and most important, I think, is that you're always inside it. Whether you're going down the road or whether you're using it in a campground, you are inside it. And the nice thing about that, as you travel down the road, anyone but the driver can actually be living inside it. And for the driver, if you need to make a stop to go to the bathroom or have a bite of lunch, simply pull into a rest stop and have your lunch. Whereas with something that you tow, you have to get out and go around. Another nice thing about the motorhome is that you can tow a small car and have that small car to do your running around with, saving money on fuel and making it easier to park. Just as there are many advantages to motorhomes, so there are some disadvantages. And the first and foremost is the cost. A motorhome simply costs a lot more money than a trailer or a fifth wheel. In the motorhome, you're buying two things, both a coach and a chassis, whereas in the trailers, you're buying only the coach. Secondly, if you do not take a dinghy car behind you, you have a difficult time doing any touring when you get to the campground where you're going. To take a 34-foot motorhome, for example, to go down to the grocery store to get a quart of milk is a bit of a chore. Then the third thing is that there is more maintenance and repair to motorhomes. It's a much more complicated machine, so it requires more care and more cost. There are several advantages to travel trailers. The first and foremost is it has to be the best buy in terms of square footage for the dollar. Travel trailers are also less costly to maintain and repair. They're much less complicated than a motorhome. Another reason for having a travel trailer is that you can tow it with a nice car, and then you have a nice car to tour in when you're not pulling the trailer. Travel trailers don't depreciate nearly as rapidly as motorhomes. There isn't as much as emphasis on the year model as there is on motorized equipment. But there are some disadvantages in the travel trailer. Primarily, there's much more work in using it. The hitching and unhitching takes time and is heavy work. Then there aren't as many options in a travel trailer as there are in a motorhome. For example, travel trailers don't have generators. Therefore, you don't have power as you do in a motorhome. Your tour vehicle always ends up a big rig if you pull a travel trailer. Therefore, it is more expensive to operate and more difficult to park. There are many advantages to the fifth wheel. One of the main ones is that it is fully usable from the very tip of the front end to the very tip of the back end. Whereas in travel trailers, part of the length is tongue, and in motorhomes, part of the length is driving compartment. Another feature of fifth wheels that is very popular is the slide out, such as we're sitting in right now. The whole side of the unit slides out to give us space for a dining booth, dining table, and for a sofa. Another very special feature of the fifth wheel is that it's safety in towing. The device that fits into the back of the pickup truck does not allow it to sway when passing a large truck or when wind is blowing, as it does with a travel trailer. Just as with other RV types, there are some disadvantages to fifth wheels. The first and most obvious is that it has to be towed with a pickup truck. Consequently, you're always riding in a truck, whether you're towing the rig or whether you're using it for touring purposes. Another factor, which is a detriment, is that fifth wheels are made of heavier materials. Therefore, they're more costly to pull. They use more fuel. Another feature, an adverse feature, is the cost of a fifth wheel. It costs more than a travel trailer per foot. And a fourth feature, in small fifth wheels, bedrooms are very cramped.
Engine choice, gas or diesel?
There are a number of advantages of the diesel engine over the gasoline engine. And one of the chief reasons is that the diesel pusher has the engine in the back end. We're riding down the freeway now with a 250 horsepower engine propelling us, and you hear very little noise up here in the driving compartment. All the noise is out back. Another nice feature is with the engine in back, the floor is level up in the driving compartment. you don't have to crawl over what we call the doghouse to get at your seats. In hot weather, and especially when you're climbing in mountains, long grades, the diesel engine performs far better than a gasoline engine. Another good reason for a diesel engine is its incredible pulling power. You just about can't stall a diesel engine. It has tremendous torque. That is its pulling power. And you can get on a steep mountain and it will just climb right up it. You won't hurtle up it, but it will more like turtle up it, but it will get up it. It's a very reliable engine, less prone to have things go wrong with it. The diesel engine is more economical. I had a 40-foot gasoline engine which gave me 5 miles per gallon on gasoline. This diesel machine, weighing much more than the gasoline machine, gives almost double that. It gives 9.5 miles per gallon. Therefore, my fuel bill is cut in half. Another important feature of the diesel engine over the gas is longevity. A diesel engine is made to run 250,000 or more miles before you have to think about any kind of major repair work done on it. Whereas the gasoline engine, you expect repair work to be done somewhere around 100,000 miles. The very fact that until very recently, gasoline engines primarily were warranted for only 25,000 miles, whereas the basic warranty on a diesel engine is 100,000 miles, certainly tells you something about the expectations in longevity. However, there's some disadvantages to the diesel engine. Right off the bat, the chief one is it costs a whole bunch more money, and I mean a whole bunch more money. Comparing the same sizes, but with different engines, gasoline engine versus diesel engine, the diesel-powered machine will invariably cost a minimum of $10,000 more than the gasoline engine. In most cases, it will cost much more than that. Of course, it isn't just the engine that is creating that expense. You have to have a special transmission, and you have to have a special chassis to support that engine and that transmission. But it costs a whole lot more to get diesel. Another thing is that diesel engines do not accelerate rapidly. So if you like to get fast starts, the diesel engine simply won't do it. If you want to accelerate rapidly to pass someone, it will not accelerate rapidly. It won't give you the immediate speed. So a person who's very sensitive to that will not like that feature of the diesel. It all depends on how you use it and how much money you have.
Evaluating a used unit.
As we said in the beginning, there are more used RVs sold than new. And for many reasons, people buy used units. The best reason is that they cost less than new. But there's some bad news. You can't really be sure what you're getting when you buy a used unit. However, you can reduce those risks by doing some things right. First question you might ask yourself is, should I buy from a dealer or a private party? There's some good reasons for buying from an RV dealer. In the first place, as a businessman, the dealer wants to protect his reputation. He wants repeat business. He wants you to bring your friends in. He can't do that by selling you something that gives you a lot of trouble. So on the used units, he usually checks them, finds the things that are wrong and repairs them so that you will be happy with the unit that you buy. And in many cases, the dealer can even be induced to give you a short-term warranty, so you have that protection. But the dealer has to make a profit. So generally, his prices will be pretty much in line with whatever the traffic will bear in his area. Buying from a private party can be the least expensive way to buy a used rig. Check the classified sections of the newspapers, and then check the national periodicals, the classified section in those. There are many units for sale there, and it will give you a clue as to what prices should be. And then watch on the street for sale signs. You might be surprised, if you keep your eyes out, how many rigs are available in your area. Now remember, when you buy from a private party, you put your money down, you drive off with your RV. There is no guarantee. There are several things that you can look for on a used rig that will help you make a good choice. The first thing is an RVIA sticker, the Recreational Vehicle Industry Association. Then you should check the frame for damage. Check for bends or wells. While under a unit, check for cracked or patched holding tanks or broken dump valves. And on a trailer, look for damage to the tongue. The tow mechanism is very important. With the RV on level ground, look along a horizontal pinstripe to see that the rear end does not droop. Check the exterior for signs of damage, signs of leaks around the windows, dents, paint damage. Common sense will tell even an inexperienced RVer whether a thing has been abused or not. Look for damage to fiberglass, cracks, paint peeling. Look for bulges where there shouldn't be bulges. And on aluminum, you must be very careful not to get one that is pitted. Signs of skin cancer, which means that the metal is deteriorating. Then put a ladder up and look on the roof. Look around the vents. Look around the air conditioners and the antenna. See if there are any signs of cracks or leaks. Check the gaskets carefully. In fact, it's a good idea to take a hose and hose the top of the rig to see if water comes in anywhere. In fact, while you have that hose, blast the windows and see if there's any sign of leaks there. RV interiors on used units generally reflect good care, poor care, or exceptionally good care. And any good housekeeper can tell by looking at it which of these it is. Furniture that is beat up looking, walls that are scarred and damaged, reflect bad care. And new looking furniture, clean looking things, reflect exceptional care. It's as simple as that. One of my special places to check for the kind of housekeeping that an RV has had is to lift up the stove top and look inside. And if there's garbage and damage inside, you can bet that the housekeeper has not taken care of things either there or in other places in the RV. Check the oven and see if there has been good housekeeping there or poor housekeeping. To my way of thinking, a good clean stove reflects good clean housekeeping. A dirty stove reflects poor housekeeping. Another way to tell something about the condition of a used RV or the quality of the housekeeping that has gone into it is to rely on your nose. A unit that smells bad inside might indicate that there has been water leakage and there has been mold, or that there have been food scraps or various other things spilled around and allowed to deteriorate, to rot, and simply your nose tells you this is a rotten RV inside. Therefore, it's not something that you probably want to live with. Water leaks often occur around windows, and you can tell whether it has happened or not because the paneling will be damaged. It may be wrinkled or broken looking. You also get damage around roof appliances. Air conditioners, for example, have a gasket that seals them from the outside roof to the inside, and there will be water leaks around the ceiling if this seal has been broken. Look around the antenna. Again, there's a hole in the roof with a gasket around it. The seal may have been broken, and water leaks will show on your roof. And water leaks on a roof that has stained the inside cannot be removed. And just as paneling around windows that has warped and deteriorated, very difficult and very expensive to replace. Before you sign the papers for a used unit and hand over your money, check all the systems and see that they work. There are electrical systems, propane systems, and water systems, and they have a lot of gadgets hooked to them. Make sure they all work. For example, the blender. It works. Check the water. The water pump works. If these things don't work, you can bet you're going to be spending a lot of money to make them work after you own the unit. Check every light in there. Make sure that it goes on and off. Here's one that doesn't work. Now we want to find out why. Is it just a bulb, or is there something wrong with the wiring? Go to your stove. Light the burners. Light each one of the burners. Make sure that they work. And if you have a regular oven, light the oven. Make sure that it works. Or if you have a microwave, turn it on. Make sure that it works. And the refrigerator, very important. Refrigerators are very expensive, and if you have to replace one, you can count on spending over $1,000. They have both propane and electrical systems. Test them on each one. There's a switch on the top. Push it from electric to gas, automatic, whatever. Check it each way and make sure that it works. The furnace system, if it's a thermostatically controlled one, turn the thermostat up. Make sure that the heat comes on. Not just the fan, make sure that the heat comes on. Monitor panels, make sure that it works. And any other gadgets on it that are electrically or with propane operated, make sure that they work. Make doubly sure you check all the water systems in the bathroom. Run both the hot water and the cold water. If your hot water heater doesn't work, you're not going to enjoy the showers that you take. Check the water at the sink. Does it run freely, both hot and cold? And check the toilet. Make sure that it flushes. If you're looking at a unit with a generator, be sure to fire that generator up and test the systems that operate on it. For example, air conditioners. And wait till they start cooling. Make sure they work. Again, a very expensive appliance to have to replace. And if you have a microwave, check it. Start it up and make sure that it is working. I would advise anyone who is thinking about buying a used motorhome to give it a driving test before you buy it. Get this out on a road and take a good long drive on it. And as you take that drive, watch for symptoms of poor performance on the engine. Check the acceleration. Make sure that this thing speeds up when it's supposed to. Check the brakes. Make sure it stops when it's supposed to. Watch the gauges. Look for the heat gauge, the oil gauge to read normal temperatures. And you see a drop in the oil pressure, you know that you have engine problems. If you see too much of an increase in the water temperature, you might have some kind of a heating problem. Watch for abnormalities in the performance of that engine and its behavior in the steering. Does it steer straight down the road, or does it tend to wander? Are there strange noises coming from the engine or the rear end or in the transmission? Does it shift smoothly from one gear to another? Watch for all of these signs of poor performance. Make sure that it's a good long test. I don't mean just driving it around the blocks. Take this thing for at least a 10 or 15, 20-mile drive. Give it a real chance to show what it can do. To check the mechanical condition, it's not a bad idea to ask to see any documentation on it. Generally, an owner who keeps meticulous documents also takes meticulous care of his engine. If you're looking at a used motorhome, you have the additional factor of the drivetrain and chassis. Although the rule of looks generally applies, unless you're a reasonably knowledgeable mechanic, I would suggest that a mechanical expert examine the machine for you. If you're in doubt about anything on the used rig that you've been checking, take your time about it. Test and retest. Make sure that it's in the condition that you expect it to be. However, bear this in mind. Don't expect everything on a used rig to be perfect, like new. If you really want a new one, perhaps that's the route you should go. To sum up what we have been saying, number one, buying an RV represents one of the largest purchases you will ever make in your lifetime. You should know what you're doing. Secondly, don't rush into a deal. Become an informed buyer before you go shopping. Know what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with. And number three, analyze your RV expectations and choose an RV that fits them. 4, each RV type, size, and floor plan has its advantages and its disadvantages. One of those units is better for you than all the others. You must decide what compromises you have to make. And number 5, buying a used unit can be a good way of saving money. However, you must examine and analyze carefully before you make a purchase. We have the best vacation and travel country in the world, and the RV is the best way to see it. You take your comforts of homes with you. You sleep in your own bed at night with your own pillow. Your own toothbrush is in your rack in the bathroom in the morning when you get up, and your clothes are hanging in the closet. The comforts of home and a wonderful country. It's a combination hard to beat.